friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do the mid-year Freakout book tag. Yes, I know, it's past mid-year and you're seeing this video in August. It just didn't get onto my schedule soon enough, but I still wanted to do it. I still wanted to answer these questions and present the questions, so that way you guys can answer them alongside. And you can answer them in the comments too, because I would absolutely love to know how you answered these questions. What type of books you're reading this year. So there's 13 questions. We're gonna get started. And yeah, here we go. So question number 1 is best book you've read so far this year. That is none other than Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Like, guys, when I say I was unwell reading this book, I literally mean I was unwell. The angst, the chemistry, the longing, and like, I can't. I have the next one. I haven't read it yet because I was taking a break from fantasy romance books, but so I'm gonna finish my one book and then I'm gonna start Reckless. But oh my gosh, guys, like, to be quite honest, I know what happens and I love this, but I want to read it again and then go into Reckless. I don't know if I want to continue to torture myself or what it is, but Kai and Peyton, oh, I just love it. And I think for some reason, you know, I really enjoyed this. And this is a YA fantasy romance book. And so there's lots of closeness, of like, not really tension, but that building chemistry that you see in the close proximity, but it never flourishes into a more descriptive way because it is YA. So the author has to be really like specific and creative on how she writes this romance. And by golly, Lauren Roberts is a genius. The wording that she uses, I cried. My heart beat real fast. Like, I can't even tell you all the emotions and what I was feeling reading this. And just best book I have read this year. Didn't think I would say that about a YA. And you can read any kind of books at any age. But I haven't read a whole lot of YA in the last few years. But I might start picking them back up, because I'm telling you, if a YA book can make me unwell, that's saying something. Because, well, to be quite fair, my favorite author is Cassandra Clare, and most of her books are YA. The Shadowhunter series, like the whole Shadowhunter fandom. I have all of her books. I absolutely love every minute of it. She is the queen of angst and twists and turns and thinking they're gonna get together and then rip them apart. And oh, she is the queen, and I love it. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. And Lauren Roberts does exactly that in this book. Exactly that. So yes, best book I've read this year so far. I don't know if you can top it. I don't know. I hope Reckless just kills me even more. The next question is best sequel you've read so far this year. So that obviously is Iron Flame. Rebecca Yarros. Freaking love it. Yes, I know this came out in November of last year, but I didn't actually get to read it until March. But oh my gosh. How Rebecca Yarros is structuring this story is magnificent. And like I've been watching and reading a podcast, I've been watching / listening to a podcast, and it's called Fantasy Fangirls. They go into deep dives. Like their first deep dive was Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and I'm still catching up on those deep dives. I'm in like the middle of Iron Flame, but I'm also like, they are deep diving ACOTAR as well, so I'm like going back and forth reading and listening to those. But it's so awesome to listen because like reading this, like I'm not really gonna like think about potential things that could happen, theories and all that for Violet's second signet, for what's gonna happen with Xaden, for what's gonna happen with the whole team, like Baz Guyot, the whole world of Fourth Wing in general. You have those thoughts, at least I have those thoughts, but I don't really think about it when I read because I am so in the story that I just want the story. That's what I want. I don't care about anything else but what is currently going on. And this one made me cry too. I have a feeling that Rebecca Yarros is going to destroy us when the new one comes out. And there's 5 books in the series. But this, so far this year has been the best sequel I've read. I don't know if anything's going to be able to top it. I just love Violet and I love Xaden. I love them together. I'm loving their struggles and their story and the world, and I just cannot wait for Onyx Storm to come out. It's going to be a good day. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. So that is The Wren in the Holly Library. This is a fantasy romance. I believe this takes place in more of like an urban fantasy setting. I know I've talked about this a few other times on my channel, and this is just, I'm really intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the romance plot based on the synopsis, but I'm also intrigued about the world and the monster that's in the library. You know, I really want to see how this author takes this story. And it's not very long either. It's only 381 pages. So it's not very long. Under 400 pages. So I'm very intrigued on how the author is going to pace it. I'm excited. Plus, this book is absolutely gorgeous. Like, if I take the dust cover off and you see the hardcover, like, the hardcover is absolutely gorgeous. And you've got the sprayed edges, like, absolutely loving it. So this is definitely one that I haven't read yet that I really want to read. So plan to do that here soon. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of 2024. So this is The Doll Makers by Lynn Buchanan. I first heard about the doll makers when I was watching, it was last year, Brandon Sanderson's book club of Tess and the Emerald Sea. And he had a panelist, Lynn Buchanan, that wrote her own book, and it got picked up and it was getting published. And so I was like, huh, interesting. I'll have to like look into that. And so I did. And the story is so unique. I don't have anything in front of me to read the synopsis for you. But go check it out on any of your booksellers, like Books A Million, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.com, because it's a very interesting setup. It's kind of a fantasy sci-fi kind of hybrid is from what it sounds like. So I'm very intrigued by it. This book comes out in August. I've already had it pre-ordered for months. I'm looking forward to it. And then I found out later that actually Lynn Buchanan works for Brandon Sanderson at his company, Dragonsteel. And I was like, at first I thought, oh, wow, okay. So he probably helped her get to the right people or anything like that. But he came out and said, you know, she did this all by herself. He's like, I'm happy to promote the book because I've read the book and the book is phenomenal. Like, Brandon really loved this book, and so that's why he was promoting it on his channel as well, Dragonsteel. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please go on one of those bookstore websites and read the synopsis. I think it sounds really interesting, so I'm looking forward for that to come out here soon. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment. So this year I started on the journey of Zodiac Academy. It is a dark fantasy romance. And you know, all the way up to books really 5 was great. Really loved it. Loved the romance between the twins, like, so like Darcy has hers and Tori has her romance. The obstacles that are in their way, the plot points and all of that stuff for the story. I really have enjoyed it. The 6th book was good, but it wasn't the best. And I say that in the way of the romances, not in the plot. The plot I'm enjoying, but the romances I'm not, like, anymore. I don't know why. So like I picked up number 7, which is Heartless Sky, because there's 9 books in the series, not counting the novellas. And this was really a disappointment for me because you're so far into the series now that really I think the romances should become a subplot. You need the storyline of the events going on to really be your lead plot point, not the romances, in my opinion. I think there's still, in the series, I think there's still some, like, obstacles for Darcy and for Tori. Obviously, especially if you've read these and you've read the ending of this book. But there's just so many other romances that are in this that, like, for me, I can't get behind. But also I think it's just gotten too smutty for me. You know, like there's like spicy, and then there's really spicy, really spicy, and this is one of those really spicy ones. And I, like, for me, it just wasn't working for me. I'm this far in, so I really want to finish it for the plot, but I'm not sure if I can actually sit down and read the last two. So I'm probably going to end up skimming to get the plot, or I'm going to just like Spark Note 8 and 9, to be fair. I don't know. This one did me in. I can't seem to do it for anymore. I just can't. And it makes me sad because I've really enjoyed these characters and how they have grown, and the new characters that you get and how they're growing. It's just way too spicy for me, and that's okay. Maybe it's not too spicy for you and you love this. You love this book. You love this series, and I think that's great. For me, it just didn't work. So the biggest surprise, and I don't have the physical copy yet, that is actually coming soon, because I bought the hardback with like the sprayed edges, and those are coming out, I think it's coming out in October. You can buy it in paperback form, but I wanted the hardback. But it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I did read it, and it is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This was so cool. Her world, oh my gosh, it's so intricate, and I want to learn more and more about it. I'm very excited. So I want to reread it, but I'm going to wait until I get the book, because it was really hard to keep going back and forth in the Kindle for the glossary. So I really want to read the physical book of it, so that way I can kind of like take my time a little bit more, understand. And oh my gosh, I love like the story between what's going on in the world, but then also like between Khan and Rave. I about forgot her name, so oh my gosh, it's great. I'm so excited to read it again. I just also saw that the second book will be coming out in 2025. I forget the date, but that's for like the UK, and in Europe. So not the US. There's not a release date yet for the US. So what I'm probably gonna do is order it from a British book supplier, like Waterstone or something like that, so that way I can have it and read it early instead of waiting, because that's what usually happens. If a book gets published in the United States, it doesn't get published in like the UK or Europe for several more months. But if it gets published, and vice versa, if it gets published in the UK or Europe, it's several months for it to come to the US. So that's why I love the internet and shipping internationally. Yes, I might have to pay a little bit more for international shipping, but to get the book that I want, I'll do it. So it was a great surprise for me. I absolutely loved the book. Can't wait for the second one to come out. Number 7 is new favorite author. I have 2, and that is Sarah A. Parker, who wrote When the Moon Hatched, and Lauren Roberts, who wrote Powerless and Reckless as well, that trilogy. So those 2 definitely my new favorite authors. I also, love Rebecca Yarros, love Sarah J. Maas, love Brandon Sanderson. So these 2 have just gravitated to top authors. I will read anything and everything by them. My newest fictional crush. So I actually have 2 for these. I have Kai from Powerless, and obviously Zayden Ryderson from Fourth Wing. Gotta love it. I love my tall, dark, and handsome men. I've got one of those for my husband, tall, dark, and handsome, and I don't know, when there's most of the characters, for some reason, I read, like, the main male character is tall, dark, and handsome. Always. It's not very much that you see a tall, blonde, main male love interest. But tall, dark, and handsome. Gotta always have those, and Kai and Zayden are both of those. And yes, they are my new fictional crushes for sure. Newest favorite character is definitely Peyton from Powerless. Absolutely love her. She is a Spitfire, and she's smart. She's also willing to just do what she believes is right. She takes care of her friends, the people that she loves. And she's a fighter. I just absolutely love it. I love her. I love her qualities. I love her, everything about her. And I just love her with Kai. I love it. Just love it. Book that made me cry. I know this is going to be I've already said it earlier, but there's 2, Powerless and Iron Flame. Those 2 are the only 2 that made me cry this year. I'm not sure why. It might be because I listened to music when I read them, but they made me cry. And I'm not ashamed at all. A book that made you happy. Well, that was The Way of Kings. I love Brandon Sanderson. He knows how to write a story. He knows how to write a plot, bring a world to life, complex characters. It's phenomenal. And to be honest, I'm really surprised I haven't read more of The Way of Kings right now. I read this and then I took like a huge break, and that was not on the plan at all. It got completely trashed, the plan I had for this year. Completely trashed. So this book it's definitely made me happy. Do I remember everything in this? Pretty much. It's not like it's been a year since I've read this and then trying to go into the next one. But I definitely need to read the next one here very soon. But all of Brandon Sanderson's works make me happy. But this one, I need more of The Way of King's world. Of Roshar, of Kaladin, of what's her name? Shallan? I think it's Shallan. Dalinar. I just need all of them. All of them. The most beautiful book you have bought this year. That is the Bone Season Book 2, the Mime Order. I mean, so the Bone Season got new covers anyway, and I believe this is the new cover. So, and I buy a lot of books from the Broken Binding, their specialty book subscriptions, and they do beautiful work. So you've got the brand new cover. You've got sprayed edges. I mean, look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? And then you've got the hardcover. Now, granted, is the hardcover for normal book production like that? I don't think so. Oh, I didn't realize this. Look at the spine, guys. Look. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, let me take off the full cover. Oh, and it's got something on the back. And then you've got these beautiful end pages. So, oh, this is a work of art just without the cover. I mean, so I also have the Bone Season, book 1. And I believe the Broken Binding is going to be doing the whole series. Like this. So I'm very excited to get the rest of these on my shelf. From what it sounds like, it's gonna be one a year, which is fine because I do want to read these, but it's just not in my timeline yet to do that. So they'll just sit pretty on my shelf, and oh my gosh, aren't they gorgeous? The final question is, what books do you really need to read by the end of this year? And so I've got 5 of them. So let's start with, and some of these are series, but I just picked the first book in the series. And I know the last one I'm going to show you, it's going to be kind of hard for me to do it at the end of the year. Especially because there's so many other books that I want to read, and they're so long, but we'll start out with this first. So I want to read The Lord of the Rings. I know you are probably like, what? You haven't read them? No, I haven't. I've seen the movies, I don't know how many times. I absolutely love the early 2000 movies of them. And I tried to read this in high school. I had an athletic trainer that I was good friends with, that she let me borrow her big bind up. But for some reason, I couldn't get past the first 50 pages. And I don't know if it was because the edition she had was in like old English or something, because it was very difficult for me to understand even. So I ended up giving it back to her, couldn't read it. Now I've read The Hobbit many times and I love it. So it's like, I have to read Lord of the Rings. I just have to. So I bought these covers, and like the other ones they've got, like, see, I bought all of those this year or last year sometime, and so I'm very excited to finally pick up Lord of the Rings. I'm going to do it this year. It's going to be done. But yes, I have to read the Lord of the Rings. The next one I really want to read, the series, is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I've heard nothing but great things about this series. And what's really great is they have it on Kindle Unlimited as well. So I'm gonna be like, it's really nice because I can like tag team. Like I can read this at home, I can take my Kindle places and read it there and like match up and all that stuff. So that's really nice and it'll help me get through it quick. But I need to read this. I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about it, and the writing style of Fonda Lee I've heard is phenomenal, and how she writes her combat scenes, that's what I've heard anyway. The next one, I wanted to read a sci-fi. I need to get into sci-fi a little bit more because I really think I would like it. And this is a duology, and it's A Memory Called Empire by Arcady Martine. I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. So this one I really want to read, and Anne Leckie, who is a renowned sci-fi writer, has given this praise. So there's 2 books. I have both of them. Definitely would like to get this series done before the end of the year. Also, I mean, I need to get my feet wet in more sci-fi because I love fantasy, and sci-fi is pretty much that. It's just more technological space and all that kind of stuff. So like sci-fi fantasy, I'm gonna say it's pretty much the same, you know, not like necessarily the same, but instead of like magic, you have advanced technology and space and that kind of stuff. Not saying you don't have space in fantasy, because you can, but I need to definitely get to this. I need to read N.K. Jemisin, guys. The 5th season, this trilogy, I need to read. It's going to happen this year. I'm done putting it off. That's that. That's all I'm going to say, because I've had this on my TBR for 3+ years now, and I have yet to get to it. So I will be getting to it before the end of the year. All 3 of them. And finally, as you can see, more Way of Kings. I am on the second one, Words of Radiance, and I've heard this one is people's favorite. It's, oh, how many pages is it? It's 1,080 pages, guys. The good thing is it's floppy. It's not one of those hard books. But yeah, I really need to get to this. I've got this one and 2 more before his 5th one comes out, which is the final one for this part of the Stormlight Archives. I know Brandon has said technically that the Stormlight Archives is going to be a 10-book series. But there's going to be a time jump between books 5 and book 6. I don't remember if he said how big of a time jump it's going to be, but I'm assuming there's going to be all new characters for that. So, well, then that's me just assuming with only reading 1 book. So I'm not even sure if I'm correct on that. Because I don't know how the 4th one has ended, because I got to get to it. But I would really like to try to finish these before the end of the year. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but I would at least like to read 2 more of the Stormlight Archives. So I don't know. It all depends. I'll probably start this when I'm on vacation, because this year my husband and I are just doing like a staycation, so we're not really going anywhere. We're gonna do some stuff around, but I'll have plenty of time to just sit and relax and read. So that's probably what I'm gonna do, is just start this thin, because I could sit and read 200 plus pages a day and finish it. So I don't know, we're gonna see. Well, everyone, that was the mid-year Freakout book tag. I hope you enjoyed listening to the questions, listening to my answers to the questions. Hopefully you also answered along with the questions. Comment down below some of the answers to these on your end. I would love to know and talk to you guys about it. So yeah, don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you